Good morning. And welcome to Unity of Palmyra, where centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. We are an open and affirming congregation. We love you exactly as you are in all of your magnificent glory. And I noticed none of you showed up an hour early, so good job with the time change. I wondered why it was so easy for me to wake up this morning at my usual early Sunday morning time. So welcome. We're so happy that you're here today. Let's all take a nice, big, deep breath. As we become fully present wherever we are, whether you're sitting in this room, whether you're sitting at home, whether you're watching from the road or listening after the fact, I invite you to be exquisitely present. To let go of all the political ads and the to-do list and everything that's up in the universe right now. We just let it all be for the next hour. And we give ourselves the gift of being here now. We let go of what was and what will be. And we are here in this moment, wonderfully present. And so let's take a collective deep breath together from wherever you are. As we demonstrate our innate connection, as we remember that together or apart, we are always connected at the heart. And as always, we enter into this experience with gratitude as we say thank you for this time to come apart for a while. Thank you for whatever safe space you are in right now. And most especially, thank you for one another. And so it is. Amen. So let's continue that attitude of gratitude with our opening song.
His love reflected, shining back to me. I just give thanks for all these simple things, the joy and peace that gratitude brings. I am grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful. I am grateful for every day I wake before I open my eyes. I count my blessings and I realize love is a miracle when I see it that way. I focus on the beauty, that's why I've got to say I am grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have.
Woo, that was lovely. Well done. Let's share together now in our vision. Centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. And our mission, wherever we are, we provide a welcoming community that inspires and encourages all who gather here through the teaching, sharing, and practice of universal spiritual principles. And one of the ways that we practice our principles and our welcoming intention is to be very respectful during this time. So we're having a little fun with this slide, have you noticed? So if you want a hug, we will bring it on in. If you're more comfortable with the handshake, just put out your hand and we will honor that. And if you want us to leave you completely alone, we totally understand. Just stay where you are and we will leave you completely alone. Have a great time. Couple of announcements. Our prayer chaplains for today are Lisa Bechtel and Linda Longenecker, who are both in the sanctuary with us today. They'll be holding sacred space throughout the service, and then they will be available over here in the quiet of this corner after the service in case you need one-on-one prayer. Our CPR AED training is November 17th. Please do sign up for that, and notice on the flyer beside the sign up that there is an online component that you have to complete first. So don't just show up on the 17th without having completed that first. And we are encouraging as many people as possible to take that training, because that way we'll have a whole bunch of us who actually know how to operate this in case we ever need it. We're hoping we never need it, but in case we do, we will be fully educated. If you need a ride to the polls on Tuesday, please see any member of our social activism team. And I do see Jeff here today, so we are lining up rides if you need a ride in order to vote. The sign-up sheet for the Love Feast is downstairs. That is November 20th. After the service, it's our traditional Thanksgiving feast, and it is a feast. It is a lot of food. And then, as we've needed to do the last couple of years, because the first Sunday in Advent is the following Sunday, it's actually in November, after we eat, we get to work off some of those calories and start schlepping up, yes, that is a word, all of the Christmas decorations. So please do sign up for whatever you would like to bring for the Love Feast, and then be prepared to stay afterwards to help bring up all the Christmas stuff. And then Madam President has a couple of announcements.
Thank you. Just two. There are, our Christmas Bazaar is starting already next week. So that kind of caught me by surprise. It was like, my gosh, November 13th is next week already. So we just need you to be aware of that. Bring in anything that you'd like to donate to the cause, and anything we have, our angel tree will be set up. There'll be tags on there to take to help some less fortunate people to have Christmas gifts. Let's see, what else on that? Oh, hats, mittens, scarves, gloves, whatever you can knit or crochet to hang on a second tree. So that's all happening starting next week. If anybody can stay after today, or after this, the service, and help bring some long tables up, we would really appreciate that. We need to have them up for next week. One more announcement. You've heard us talk about the Salvation Army bell ringers, and we had enough people signed up, but we need one more helper ringer for November 19th from 10 to 12. That will be working with Vicki Smith. So if anybody would like to do that, please see Joanne or myself after the service, and we can certainly hook you up with that. All right, thanks, everybody.
And this is perfect timing because he can mute me while I cough and you can ring the daily word.
Good morning. The word for today is balance. I honor life's shifting rhythms. Sometimes trying to balance my schedule, meet my obligations, and even find time for the things I enjoy can leave me scrambling to figure out how to fit it all in. Today, I take my cue from nature and notice the rhythm of the seasons and the tides, the cycles of growth, and the order that underlies all things. I appreciate how seamlessly the natural world balances itself and restores itself to harmony. This gift of harmony and balance lives in me. I honor myself when I flow with it instead of forcing my will upon it. I listen to my body's many signals. I rest when I'm tired, eat when I'm hungry, and socialize and seek solitude as I need to. As I care for myself, I find balance. And from Ecclesiastes, verse 8:15, for there is nothing better for people under the sun than to eat and drink and enjoy themselves.
I am home, my family is here. I feel loved by the ones I hold so dear. And when my family needs me, I promise to be there. And when I need my family, I'm lifted up in prayer.
So this is the time of our service when we lift up any joys or challenges into the loving arms of this community. So let's take a nice big deep breath. And let's reflect on today's daily word, balance. What a perfect word for the Sunday before Election Day. Many of us have felt just a little off balance by all of the energy swirling around us right now. Apparently, it's not just in our country. Apparently, there's all sorts of cosmic forces all erupting all at once, right now, at this point in time. And so it's perfectly natural in our humanity to feel a little off balance. And that's when we ground ourselves in our spiritual nature. And we remember the truth of who we are. We are both human and divine. We recognize that our work is to integrate both aspects of ourselves and find that perfect balance of being present to what's happening in our world. It's our right and it is our responsibility. And maintaining that inner peace, that inner calm that comes from knowing that all is well. That comes from knowing that we do all we can and then we let it be. We show up. We tell the truth. We do what we can and then we let it go. And in the process, we not only find balance for ourselves, but from those that surround us. For we bring that energy of calm, that energy of certainty, that energy of peace to everyone that we meet. And so I invite you now to just take a moment in the silence to find that place of balance within yourself. And we commit this week to moving forward from that place of balance, from that place of gratitude for all the love that we are and all the love that we share. And we approach this critical work from that place of knowing that we are all one. As we go forward this week, we commit to seeing everyone as the face of God. As we silently acknowledge to ourselves on our journey that the divine in me beholds and honors the divine in you. Namaste.
The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. You are beautiful. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are whole. If I could tell the world just one thing, it would be that we're all okay. And not to worry, 'cause worry is wasteful and useless in times like these. I won't be made useless, won't be idle with despair. I'll gather myself around my faith, for light is the darkness most fear. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. Poverty stole your golden shoes, but it didn't steal your laughter. And heartache came to visit me, but I knew it wasn't ever after. We'll fight, not out of strife, for someone must stand up for what's right. 'Cause where there's a man who has no voice, their hours shall go on singing. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. Yes, they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken in the end. Only kindness matters in the end. Only kindness matters. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. Yes, they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. I am never broken. God's hands, God's eyes, we are God's mind, we are God's eyes, we are God's hands, we are God's heart.
That was lovely, and I don't know if you noticed Becky and I singing backup from over here. We were love that song. I love Jewel. What an amazing woman. So, this morning we're talking about the joy of Seva and appreciating all of our volunteers. Seva is a Sanskrit word, and it means selfless service. So what we're really talking about this morning is the joy that we find in serving. And I found a neat piece by blogger Daniel Scott. He calls it the art of selfless service. This is what he says. It says, Seva is a Sanskrit word meaning selfless service, or work performed without any thought of reward or repayment. This is actually just laying the foundation for random acts of kindness next week, just so you know. Subtlety is not my strong suit. He says, in ancient India, Seva was believed to help one's spiritual growth and at the same time contribute to the improvement of a community. So notice the both and energy of this. This is the art of giving with no need to receive, where the act itself is a gift to everyone involved. Seva is the art of blessed action. Ram Dass explains this beautifully. Helping out is not some special skill. It is not the domain of rare individuals. It is not confined to a single part of our lives. We simply heed the call of that natural impulse within and follow it where it leads us. Despite our seemingly unlimited capacity to connect, it's very easy to feel limited in a world of dynamic change. So asking questions like, can I really make a difference? Or how am I supposed to help? Only serve to delay or avoid action. With Seva, the only answer you need is yes. Yes, I can help. Yes, I will do this. Yes, this is possible. Efforts need not be global. It is virtually impossible to change the world in one fell swoop. So focus on the community around you, the village in which you live, the partnerships you've created, and the lives of those you're able to touch. It can be as easy as paying the toll for the person behind you, which actually we can't do anymore, but you know what I'm saying. Or shooting off a nice email to someone you haven't spoken to in years. Stay anonymous. It's fun. Give openly. As you become more comfortable with giving with no need for reward, you can expand the reach of your actions. Small steps lead to great change. Seva is the karmic life preserver that keeps your spiritual head above water by helping others to stay afloat. Please enjoy the act of selfless action and all the wonderful energy that surrounds it. I thought that was beautiful. So let's start with how we serve in this community. We have so many teams and groups that support this community. We have the fellowship team. Yes, I'm mentioning them first because coffee. We have our amazing prayer team. We have our ushers and our greeters. We have our music team. We have our AV team. We have our bookstore team. We have our facilities team. We have our landscaping team, our fundraising team, our council, our service assistants, and I could keep going. If you were at the annual meeting last week, you heard about all of our teams. So many of you, if not most of you, serve on one or more of these teams in service and in support of our community. So I think we've got that part down. What we want to look at today, and this is the energy of Seva, is what is the energy behind that service and how are we serving? So this is where we kick it up a notch, right? This is where we don't just show up, we show up with intention. So, are we demonstrating our vision, our mission, and our values as we serve? Like, do we have those imprinted in our brain? So even if we're making coffee, or if we're filling my water before the service, or rehearsing music, or working on slides, or fundraising, or filling out the opera fudge form, whatever we're doing, are we being accepting? Are we being compassionate? Are we being open-minded? Are we being positive? You know, positive shows up twice. It shows up here, and it also shows up as a value. So, yeah, we're kind of like really needing to be positive, because these values and our mission and our vision are who and what we've told the universe we are. And so the universe expects us to show up that way. And then finally, is everything that we're doing transformative? Are we being welcoming? Are we demonstrating who we say we are as we serve in any capacity? Because, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but we know that the energy we bring to something is just as, if not more important than what we're actually doing. The energy behind the action is so important. I had a friend, this is actually a true story, luckily it's not the case here, but I had a friend who at one point was, she's now passed, but at one point she was leading a very large church, and she just happened, you know how we wander around on Sunday mornings, and she just happened to have wandered into their kitchen, and this was a big church, so this was like a commercial size, you know, kitchen, and she was overhearing the coffee making team, and she overheard them complaining about how they always have to make the coffee, and why do we always have to make the coffee, and blah, blah, no woman. And she walked over to him and she said, "You're fired." She said, "I don't want that energy in our coffee. So you're fired," right? And they, I think, were probably a little taken aback, but she meant it, because, and she also understood, because she was a brilliant woman, that energy was getting in the coffee, right? And so, of course, I'm listening to her tell this story, and I'm like, you didn't have any coffee? And she's like, it only lasted maybe 2 or 3 weeks, but for 2 or 3 weeks, that congregation, the 1,200, had no coffee after church. Until finally people noticed, hey, we don't have any coffee. And a new group stepped up, and her mandate to them, as it was to all of the teams, was only do this in joy. Find what brings you joy, and then do it. Because she realized, I didn't think at the time to ask her, what were your community's core values, like we have our core values, but I'm pretty sure that complaining and martyrdom were not 2 of the core values, right? And so we need to be very clear that, that the definition of integrity is being in alignment with who we say we are. And it's not passive. It takes work. And it takes intention, and it takes paying attention to what's going on around us. And it also means that we get into the muck and the grace. So this is your annual reminder from Father Ronald Rollheiser about the muck and the grace of being in community together. And I just love this man. He was introduced to me by a former coaching client who was actually the president of an all-girls Catholic school. And she introduced me into some amazing mystical authors, and he was one of them. And in this book, The Holy Longing, Rollheiser talks about what he calls the 4 non-negotiable pillars of our spiritual life. And he says the first one is private prayer and private morality. So that's the inner work that we do. There's also social justice, very important. Mellowness of heart and spirit. Isn't that a lovely word? Mellowness. And then community. So what I want to focus on is what he says about community. And if you've been here with me for the last 5 years, this will be familiar, but this is your once-a-year reminder. He says, Jesus teaches us clearly that God calls us, not just as individuals, but as a community, and that how we relate to each other is just as important religiously as how we relate to God. Or more accurately, how we relate to each other is part of how we relate to God. For Jesus, the 2 great commandments, to love God and to love one's neighbor, can never be separated. I saw a meme in the last couple of weeks that said, neighbor is not a geographic term. There's some food for thought, right? Moreover, for Jesus, loving one's neighbor is not an abstract thing. Essentially, it means that we must, in our worship of God in heaven, involve ourselves concretely with a worshiping community on earth. Hence, he tells us that anyone who claims to love God, who is invisible, but refuses to deal with a visible neighbor, is a liar. For one can only really love a God who is love if one is concretely involved with a real community on earth. This is something that is difficult for our age to hear because our age tends to divorce spirituality from ecclesiology. Ecclesiology meaning being part of like a denomination or a spiritual movement. We want God, but we don't want church. By doing this, however, we bracket one of the primary demands inherent right within the very quest for God. Already a century ago, a prominent Protestant theologian, Friedrich Schleiermacher, love it, tried to point this out in a book with a curious but revealing title, Speeches on Religion for Those Among the Cultured Who Despise It. Schleiermacher pointed out that separate from historical religion, namely the churches with all of their faults, the individual in quest for God, however sincere that search, lives the unconfronted life. Without church, we have a more private fantasy than real faith. He submits that real conversion demands that eventually its recipients be involved in both the muck and the grace of actual church life. Spirituality is ultimately communitarian, meaning being in community, I'm guessing, even within those faiths such as Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, and Taoism that are not ecclesial within their essential makeup, as are Christianity and Judaism. Why? Because the search for God is not a private search for what is highest for oneself, or even for what is ultimate for oneself. Spirituality is about a communal search for the face of God, and one searches communally only within a community. So it's the muck and the grace of being in community. You know, it's I love this because it's so easy to be holy when we're alone. Right? Like, it's so easy to be holy when we're in our cave meditating, or, you know, off in the woods by ourselves. And it's when we come together, the real practice happens. When we come together and we give each other the opportunity to demonstrate what we say we believe, when we're pushing up against each other, that's when we really get to practice and to show up as a demonstration of our values. And in fact, Rolheiser is even more blunt. He says, you cannot deal with an all-loving, all-forgiving, all-understanding God in heaven if you cannot deal with a less than perfect, less than forgiving, and less than understanding community here on earth. You cannot pretend to be dealing with an invisible God if you refuse to deal with a visible family. So this is very much in alignment with the beloved community work that I've been doing with a group. And I see Jeff smiling because he's recognizing it, right? And creating what Jim Lockard and Dr. King and many before him have called the beloved community. It is that community where we are willing to come together in the muck and the grace and live into who we say that we are. In fact, I love this, and it's, again, I can't believe the timing of this because it's right before Tuesday and all that involves. There's a quote from a book called Search for the Beloved Community, and this is all about the thinking of Dr. King. And it's by Doctors Kenneth Smith and Ira Zepp. All these cool last names like Schleiermacher and Zepp. Okay, so he says, central to the thinking of Martin Luther King was the concept of the beloved community. In fact, he described the purpose and goal of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference as follows. The ultimate aim of SCLC is to foster and create the beloved community in America where brotherhood is a reality. So inherent in that is the observation where then and now brotherhood is not yet a reality, which is interesting given who we say we are in our foundational documents. So notice the incoherence that we are experiencing in our country right now, because who we say we are is not how we're showing up. That's that disconnect, that feeling off balance that many of us are feeling right now. He says, behind King's conception of the beloved community lay his assumption that human existence is social in nature. The solidarity of the human family is a phrase he frequently used to express this idea. We are tied together in the single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. Doesn't that kind of sound like we're all one and we're all connected? So this is this excerpt is from his letter from a Birmingham jail, which is one of his most famous and most uncomfortable works. So this was interesting because the whole letter was in a response to an open letter that 8 Alabama clergymen had written, and that was called A Call for Unity, which is interesting because so this is called A Call for Unity, but in it they were branding Dr. King as an outsider. So do you see the immediate disconnect there, right? And it urged a realistic approach to racial problems. And in response to peaceful civil rights demonstrations across the South, it called for law and order and common sense. In other words, the only way we can have unity is if we squash all of this dissent. Right? To which Dr. King wrote the letter. And he said he rejected this false sort of unity, condemning those who were more devoted to order than to justice, and those who preferred a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. For Dr. King, true unity was possible only through reconciliation, and reconciliation was possible only through justice. And then they ended this section with something that I thought was really interesting. You know how you can read something year after year after year, and then all of a sudden one day it just jumps off the page at you? This jumped off the page at me this week. They said, in those days, the church was not merely a thermometer that recorded the ideas and principles of popular opinions. It was a thermostat that transformed the mores of society. So it didn't just record the common understanding or the traditional values. It was a thermostat that transformed. So it's also important in creating the beloved community and in embracing both the muck and the grace that we recognize and honor the very real human need to belong. And part of that belonging is believing that you are part of something bigger than yourself. That you are part of being that change we wish to see in the world. That you are part of creating a world that works for all. That you are part of creating a world that is accepting and compassionate and open-minded and positive and transformative. And sometimes that requires getting into the muck and working stuff out. But the beauty of the beloved community is there's a commitment to working it out together, even when it feels yucky, even when we want to say, well, this isn't what church should be. Right? Pema Chodron teaches that, and I love her, she's so real. She says, engaging in a spiritual practice, or by extension, participating in a spiritual community, doesn't mean we're not still crazy or angry or impatient or human. It means we are willing to be with what is and be with who we are together through all of the craziness and the muck. And I think that the grace of actual church life is that we can come together in community and be seen for who we are. We can come together in a space that feels safe. M. Scott Peck observed, there can be no vulnerability without risk. There can be no community without vulnerability, and there can be no peace and ultimately no life without community. So as a community, we get to ask ourselves, what is the energy that we bring to our service? What is the energy that we bring to our community? Are we willing to be vulnerable? Are we willing to remember who we say we are in every interaction, whether it's making coffee or setting up for the yard sale or getting ready for a Sunday morning? Are we willing to, with intention, practice who we say we are? So I want to close with a story. I actually posted this on my Facebook page if you'd like to see what Parker Palmer said about it. But the story really impacted me when I read it because it applies to our community, and it applies to our country, and it applies to our world. And so this was he was quoting the story from a book called Touching Our Strength by Carter Hayward. He said, once there was a wise old woman who lived in a small village. The children of the village were puzzled by her wisdom, her gentleness, her strength. One day, several of the older children decided to fool her. No one could be as wise as everyone said she was, and they set out to prove it. So they found a baby bird. One of the boys cupped it in his hands and said to his friend, "We'll ask her whether the bird I have in my hands is dead or alive. If she says it's dead, I'll open my hands and I'll let it fly away. If she says it's alive, I'll crush it." I know, right? But hang in there. There's a good moral to the story, even though that kid would definitely get a timeout if he was mine. "And she'll see that it's dead." So they went to the woman and presented her with this puzzle. "Old woman," the boy asked, "this bird in my hands, is it dead or alive?" The old woman became very still, studied the boy's hands, then looked carefully into his eyes. "It's in your hands," she said. So, our community is in our hands. Our health, our vitality, our present, our future, it's in our hands. This country's present and future is in our hands. So, as community, do we just want to be a thermometer, or do we want to be a thermostat? One of our values is transformative, and that's what thermostats do. They transform. They create the beloved community. They create a compassionate country. They create the beautiful world that we know is possible. So the questions for today are, what is the energy behind your service? And are we a thermometer or a thermostat? Let's take that into meditation.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and all we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and all I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world.
So let's bring in that gorgeous energy. Of recognizing that we are a blessing individually, communally. Who we are has the capacity to make such a difference in the world. who we are and what we bring. Because what we believe is important, but showing up as what we believe is more important. The world is hungry for compassion, for acceptance, for being open and receptive. The world is hungry for a positive approach, not just to spiritual living, but to life. As the negativity swirls around us, bringing a positive energy, a smile, a sense of all is well, is such a gift. And so I invite you in a moment of silence and reflection to ask yourself with compassion, how am I serving? What energy am I bringing to my service? And in that service, is it bringing me joy? And hopefully the answers will lead you to what does bring you joy. And then we invite you to share that joy with us. Because it's that expression of joy that is the true blessing. The blessing only you can bring to the world.
I am the heart, I am the hand, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and all I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world, to the world.
Thank you.
So this is where we get to be extra grateful. And thank you for your ongoing and consistent and generous financial support of this community. We are so incredibly grateful as you demonstrate your commitment to bringing that into the world. Thank you.
We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the mothers who breathe with Mother Earth.
We are the fathers, blessed with a gentle strength.
The sisters and the brothers, respected hand in hand.
The sons and the daughters who walk upon this sacred land. And we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for.
We are the healers who hear the voice of truth.
We are the elders whose wisdom guides our youth.
The searchers and seekers with wings spreading to the sun.
The shapers and builders whose work for peace is never done. And we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. Sing with us. We are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for.
Givers of mercy, believers in grace.
Singers of great beauty, and keepers of the faith.
We are the sailors who've come back through the storm.
We are the dreamers, resting in God's arms.
Dancers and lovers who move beneath the stars.
The masters and teachers whose visions remind us who we are. And we are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for.
Well, I don't know if we have any kids today. Do we have any kids today? No? Okay. All right, then let's stand and share in our unity blessing. And as we do this, let's look around the room and let's shine our light onto those joining us on Facebook and YouTube together. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in each and every one of you. So last week we did October birthdays. Now we're going to do November birthdays. And it's even a longer list. So here we go. I got this.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
Brady, Joan, Lori, Kate, Debbie, Vicky, Barbara, Gwen, and Liz.
Happy birthday to you.
And many more. Yay! Lots of December. Now it will be a whole month till the December birthdays. So, all right, let's share together in the peace song with intention.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light
Of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And wherever God is, all is well. Go forth this week. Discover your joy. Live your joy. Serve from your joy. Contribute in joy. And vote. Amen? All right. Have a wonderful week and join us downstairs for fellowship.